Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
If I take time and I write down all the things that I have on my eye now, best believe my list gon' be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's love that makes me sing this song. Clean is real on the waters. Friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for. Oh, I am in this sun. Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. I'm going higher. 50 years we're blessed with much fire. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 going up, going up, going up, 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 up. As we aspire, build up ourselves for people together.
Welcome to EDDIE-FICATION, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy. For too long now, our generally perceived poorly educated electorate have fallen victim to the cheap and inferior propaganda of those seeking to hold others captive under the guise of democracy. Gladly, the CDG uses EDDIE-FICATION to help to actively pursue a sustainable approach to reorient our people towards the importance of electing people of good character to public life. Through EDDIE-FICATION, we will highlight the importance of education appropriate to our development, proper healthcare and facilities as our right, respect for law and order, not to mention upgrading our people's thinking so they could become qualified participants in the democratic process to their advantage. After all, Grenada's national constitution makes allowances for the ideal of free men to enjoy freedom from fear and want, which can be best achieved if conditions are created by everyone may enjoy his economic, social and political, civil and cultural rights.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Country Cold Store wishes to advise the general public and its customers that the services of their sales trucks will be unavailable on Thursday, 13th June 2024 to facilitate an important staff training session. Normal operation of the sales trucks will resume on Friday, 14th June 2024. Country Cold Store sincerely apologizes for any inconvenience this closure may cause and thanks the general public for their cooperation and understanding.
Hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause big damage.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. Hiring the right people with the right attitude and mindset is where to start. Even if you did not get it right through your current hiring methods, we can help develop the right mindset for your current employees. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.EDDIE-FYAH.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks. Wonderful, wonderful. It's such a plum-pleasing pleasure to be with you once more. Welcome to Edification 220 as we strive to continue to navigate life's challenges. And God knows there are many. We are now into the hurricane season for 2024. And the predictions, which are usually spot on, are not so good for us this time around. Remember, folks, it is better to be over-prepared and nothing happens than to not prepare at all and the worst happens. So study your heads, because God knows the international crisis on, with Ukraine and Soviet Union, well, not the Soviet Union, but Russia at war, then Hamas and Israel at war, with Iran jumping in, and with France, ratcheting up the ante with something else in Europe. Hello. It ain't easy. So we have climate change to already cope with, and we are seeing that it's a bit of a fight up to get these advantageous countries who are actually responsible for all of the emissions that are destroying the what you call the ozone layer, causing us to warm up and causing all these catastrophes, these natural catastrophes to mushroom and to actually expand and grow, with us being affected severely. We have much help to get. So you better mitigate against the rigors and the damages that can take place in any hurricane if any were to hit our land, as against not preparing, because you will eat the bread the devil made. Study your heads, folks. Our voice will be added to this clarion call for optimum preparation in due course. In the meantime, let's proceed with our business at hand today. As you come into the room, edification, of course, today, and you get all your greetings and you exchange your salutations and what have you, please remember to share, tag your friends. This is a welcome reminder that we're about to be on fire for yet another Sunday right here on Edification 220. Comment, like, love, and react as you know how, in keeping with your interactive nature. Let's make this edition another successful intercourse between us. Of course, folks, the overall message of the number 220 rings through as it clearly instructs us to let common sense prevail. But what does that mean? Number 220 is a cue from the spiritual realm that you will go through trials in order to grow. That is, so you can continue to evolve and change into the person you have the potential to become. Remember what we learned some time ago and reiterated each week since then. In order to grow, GROW, we need to get rid of weaknesses. Get rid of weaknesses. In numerology, the angel number 220 is interpreted as a combination of the energies and vibrations of the number 2 and the number 0, each appearing twice. You see, the number 2 represents harmony, balance, relationships, partnerships, duality, diplomacy, adaptability, and serving your soul mission. Find your soul mission, folks, your true purpose, so that you can truly be of optimum service with your life. On the other hand, the number 0 represents potential, new beginnings, infinity, eternity, and the universal energies of the divine. Together, these energies bring forth a powerful message of spiritual growth, balance, and of course, fulfillment. The number 220 tells us that our angels and spirit guides are working behind the scenes to help us manifest our goals and higher purposes. You should be contented that God is working behind the scenes on your behalf so that you can fulfill your life's mission. It was Albert Einstein who said, folks, the only thing more dangerous than ignorance is arrogance. It simply means that more than not knowing something, which is ignorance, can be harmful. But thinking you know it all, arrogance, is even worse. Ignorance can be fixed by learning, but arrogance blinds you to your own flaws and stops you from growing. You ought to be saying, oh, it's arrogance that has so many people around us in ignorance. Oh my. It is a reminder to stay humble, folks. Keep learning and be open to other people's ideas and knowledge, because we don't know everything. Our topic for today's discourse is run your own race. Be excited about who you are. How many people do we know who continue to refuse to live the one life that God has granted them, and instead they pretend to be someone else for most, if not all, of their lives? You see, the beautiful thing about life is that it is not a rehearsal for anything else we will experience while above ground. Hence the reason why we should live our lives with feeling, passion, and conviction. For we can be snatched in the middle of the day or night, never having lived the life that was made for us through touching the lives of others and being of service to them. We will be dead for far longer than we were ever alive. And so we must make every day above ground count. While strolling leisurely through one of our supermarkets recently, it is so funny, I met someone whom I had not seen in years and didn't mind seeing. After exchanging pleasantries about how well we each thought we looked for our ages and commending each other for the good lives that we appear to be enjoying, the person quipped that they are so glad to have met me on life's journey and reminded me of some things I did for them eons ago that have them living comfortably today. Interestingly, they said that their daughter came to one of my GTA Excellence Champion workshops last year. And after her session, she visited her parents, them, and had to relate the experience, saying that this man is something else, you know. He's so forthcoming. He has a way with his words and uses his own personal real life experiences to reinforce the points he was making. He has a story indeed, and caused me to become conscious of my own story, because we all have stories to tell, which can help others to realize that there is strength to be derived from embracing who we are and sharing our experiences at appropriate times that can help to lift others. That man is so real. When he mentioned that he found it necessary to pull back almost completely from the wider society and reduce his associations to the few meaningful ones only, and life started to get better for him almost instantly. That was the bonus for me. This is, of course, the daughter relating to her parents. I just wish more people will experience him, as he is the man to tell us as it is, to rock us to our core, so that we can become one with our reality and live the life we were meant to live. Of course, folks, I tried my best to remember everything I was told, so I'm just paraphrasing here. But this is the actual essence of what I was told. You see, this is the conversation that influenced today's topic. That reiteration coming from a parent of a modern young person here among us who needed to be at the right place at the right time to participate in the GT Excellence Champion Program is what reinforces in me the importance of disciplined focus. And every time I think of those two words going together, disciplined focus, I have no choice but to remember Minister A.J. Williams, Andy Williams. I tell you, if disciplined focus were a person, disciplined focused will be called Andy J. Williams. By the way, those two people, Black Grenadians, you and your life may not, influence or change a multitude, folks, but just one person at a time who will leave with rich testimonies that will help to influence others. You should not be concerned with idiots and what they have to say about you from their shallow spaces of life. Remember, a giraffe has no interest, absolutely no interest, in the thoughts and feelings a turtle may express from its low to the ground view of him. Look at how far up he is. Lions never lose sleep over sheep and over the opinions of these sheep. You see, people may accuse you of not liking Black people, even though the only people you keep making sacrifice to help are Black people. Run your own race. Be excited about who you are. Let's take a little break. And of course, you could see where this is going. This is going to get some heat here. So let's take a little break and we'll come right back. It's a moment.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is EDDIE-FICATION, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CCHT. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
If I take time and I write down all the things that I love on my island, best believe my list gon' be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's love that makes me sing this song. The cleanest breeze on the waters, friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for. Oh, island in the sun. Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years and more to come. More to come. More to come. Going higher. 50 years we're blessed with motion fire. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 going up, going up, going up, 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 higher. Going higher. As we aspire, build up ourselves, put people together. Like my child, don't live up.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, wonderful. Just give me one quick second. Lovely. Folks, We must learn to live our lives based on our understanding of who we are and, most importantly, whose we are. We will embrace both our capabilities and shortcomings. Too many of us live our lives based on the lesser vision that we have of ourselves. And so we get stuck on zero, never reaching our full potential. There are others again who deliberately live a lie and are not what they make themselves out to be. If we desire to live a fulfilling life, we have to make every effort to live by truth. Pleasing others does not matter, folks. Sometimes the people you are trying to please by your fake lifestyles are not even focused on you, and they are trying hard to lift their own levels in private. I know this woman who had it all. Hello? And today, she resembles a piece of floor rag with nothing. You want to know why? She can't leave confusion and TB alone. If toxic were a person, trust me, it would be her. Her business gone to the dogs. She's owing everybody and can't pay. And nobody wants to have anything to do with her. Just recently, a certain individual was crying Coco Mina to me, telling me how she owes them so much money. And you know what I did? I said to the person, you cannot sue anybody who is of straw. You will be paying a lot of money to collect zero. Release her, please, so you can move on. Leave her alone, wish her the best, and take your energy spent on regrets and put that energy into moving forward. You know what that gentleman did? He looked at me and he said, wow, that was magnanimous. That's profound. I say, yeah, man, release her and move on. You're going to get a lawyer. You have to pay thousands of dollars for the lawyer. All the work they're going to be doing. Then you go to court. Then they reduce it to mediation. Then mediation court. And then what? $25 a month. You could go through that? Rubbish. She's a lost cause. Leave her alone. But you see, what I've just said there, good? Business gone to the dogs, owing everybody and can't pay. Nobody wants to have anything to do with her. Nobody at all. This could be any number of people in our society. And all I ask of you to do is to pay attention. And you would hear the response of that same foolish one who the cap will certainly fit. You see, we have to understand, if you desire positive change in your life, you must be totally committed to recognizing and weeding out the undesirably false perceptions that are a hindrance to you achieving your dreams. If you truly desire to live a life of success, you have to be committed in all ways to live by truth. You have to be able to critically look at yourself and your life and see where you are in relation to where you want to be. Trust me, folks, this is not always pleasant, but it is absolutely necessary. For those of us who love our own company and spend valuable time alone, this is a piece of cake. You see, we can and ought to take advantage of being self-critical with a view to improving ourselves constantly. After all, there is no distraction around us and no one to disturb our honesty with ourselves. Dr. M. Scott Peck, in his book, The Road Less Traveled, wrote, and of course I could read it, so I read it. A life of total dedication to the truth always means a life of willingness to be personally challenged. I'm not saying that it is easy to look at yourself and realize that there are some things within you that you need to change. It is sometimes painful to face the unpleasant things about yourself, about your spouse, about your family, about your relatives, or even your friends. But once you start, you recognize the growth spurts that occur within you. And that bravery to face such unpleasantness leads to the desired changes and adjustments that can only result in your personal growth. And you know what we said about grow. Get rid of weaknesses. It never ceases to amaze me that in spite of how beautiful our geography is, this piece of rock called Grenada, that our people during our 50 years of national independence were allowed to deteriorate so badly. We have evolved into a people who are certainly not a proper match for the simple sophistication our beautiful island oozes effortlessly. When it suits us, we talk about how much of a Christian society we are. But as a general rule, our approach to our very lives shows us up as mainly cavalier and nonchalant, resulting in the evil and demonic consequences to be derived from jealousy, envy, and hate for each other. It is so sad. But folks, I recall attending a live training session conducted by Les Brown, one of America's foremost motivational speakers and trainers, back in the early 90s, when he said, you judge a tree by the fruits it bears, and you don't judge it by the fruits it talks about. I could not agree with him more on this issue. Too many of us around here concentrate on being religious while we ignore being Christians. Say what you want about the Muslims, but they revere their God to the point where they pray 5 times, and in some cases even more, per day. They make their time between sinning and asking for forgiveness very short, while the so-called Christians can't wait for once a week to go to church on Sundays. A Muslim mosque is regarded by all Muslims as the great equalizer, to the point where humility abounds within. From the rich to the poor, they are all kneeling on the same level as one within when they report to worship Allah. Look at them carefully, and you will see more blessings abound among them. Isn't that interesting? More blessings abound among them. They don't have to depend on any great robber standing on a pulpit preaching about prosperity while he or she siphons the scarce resources of the poor congregants. If only we run our own race, we will become excited about who we really are. Don't you agree with that, folks? If only we would run our own race, we would become excited about who we really are as a people. You see, too many of us who boast of being Christians and can chant verse upon verse from within the Bible, we live like rudderless ships on high seas. My favorite religious motivator and televangelist, Joel Osteen, tells us that the scriptures advise us that God has given us the power to enjoy what is allotted and appointed to us. That simply means that I do not have the power to enjoy your life. You may have more money, more friends, more success, or even a better job. But if you put me in your job, I am not necessarily going to enjoy it, because we are uniquely designed to run our own race and sing from our own hymn sheet, dance to our own tune, and march to our own drumbeat. When we embrace this, we will not be tempted to compare or wish we had what someone else has. We really need to focus on what we have and what we are blessed with. Find your purpose, folks, and stop envying others in theirs. The gift you have received from God to fulfill your purpose is disciplined focus. Too few of us around here live in our purpose. and remain on stream to seeing our purpose through to the end. Too few of us master what we were ordained to do in this life because we are living to please others. The very few of us who are not interested in pleasing others while going along with the conditioning of wider society are regarded as not normal. I always want to be regarded by the many of you out there who have no purpose as not being normal. I am okay with that. Trust me. Trust me. I always love to be the right because it therefore means that is one less person that is qualified to beg me. You see, the many church-going, Bible-toting, scripture-quoting so-called Christians, if God wanted you to have the talent someone else was blessed with, trust me, he would have given it to you. Instead, focus on discovering what you have been given and develop that or those talents. You see, the life you have has been perfectly matched for you. Take it and run with it, folks. Do something with it. After all, it is the only one we've been given. And our lifelong journey should be spent discovering, developing, and perfecting our purpose. I am most convinced that Grenada is not a Christian community because of all the poor examples we have as church leaders, not to mention otherwise church goers. Many of the people we would like to consider Christians have shown us all too often how deceitful and untrustworthy they are. Look at how many of them harbor criminals and otherwise people who were untrustworthy. Look at how many of them still support, for instance, that old nastiness who has never hid his transgressions but remained consistent over the years, evolving from a young nastiness to an old nastiness, the one he is today. When you see certain people's public posts supportive of this evil creature, you visit their profile and you would see them attaching themselves to biblical quotes and even sharing loads of religious stuff. What does that tell you about these people? All you need to know. You know people by their word and their follow-up actions. Just pay attention. Folks, you attend a gathering and many of the same people who say they are Christians, in spite of your arriving early, in spite of them arriving early too, they are quite contented to take a back seat because there is where they feel comfortable. What does the Bible say about us, God's people? We were born to be at the head, not at the tail. Yet for all, so many of us take a back seat and criticize all those who take their rightful seats at the front. The Bible tells us that we were born to be of service to each other when it comes to the true purpose of life. Yet for all, so many of us use our paid areas of work, our jobs, to terrorize paying customers and otherwise are programmed to be takers and measurers and not givers, because we do not understand our role as human beings to be of service to one another. We all who understand these things ought to be as pissed off as I am over this annual holiday called Corpus Christi, which people use to fet and to play the ass, so to speak, instead of giving it its prominence on the Christian calendar that it deserves. Yet we say we are Christians. And all the Corpus Christi to do is to listen to me carefully, folks, to play the ass. Corpus Christi Thursday, as some of us ought to know, is a Christian holiday. And we say we are Christian society, observed by the Roman Catholic faith and some Orthodox religions. This is a public holiday in some Roman Catholic dominated nations around the world, to include, among others, of course, Argentina, Colombia, Croatia, Dominican Republic, East Timor, Equatorial Guinea, parts of Germany, Grenada, Haiti, Jerusalem, in Israel. Hey, Research reveals that Corpus Christi means the body of Christ, not fat and rum, and refers to the elements of the Eucharist, also called the Holy Communion. You see, the Feast of Corpus Christi is a Catholic festival celebrated on the second Thursday after Whitsun. In the Church of England, this day is called Day of Thanksgiving for the institution of Holy Communion. It is instructive to note that the emergence of Corpus Christi as a Christian feast didn't happen until the second half of the 13th century, with the efforts of a nun called Juliana of Liege. Murmurs, but of course you know what I declared our internet situation last week. I'm not necessarily going to repeat it because I stand corrected, but it is really a challenging process in Grenada. But anyhow, since childhood, Juliana of Liege has been claiming that God had been telling her that there should be a feast day for the Eucharist, and eventually Bishop of Liege. In those days, bishops Well, folks, I sincerely apologize for that break-in transmission there, but I have no idea. I'd like to thank you very much, Sawandi, because if you did not say what you said there, I would not have made this move to be able to rejoin. So thank you very much. Folks, when you are viewing a live, you need to communicate, you know, because he sent a private message to me and boom, I'm back up again. It would be very, very, you know, instructive for us to take that kind of proactive approach. Sawandi, thank you, thank you. That's why I have so much faith in you, boy. So much confidence in you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, folks, we say since childhood, Juliana of Liege had been claiming that God had been telling her that there should be a feast day for the Eucharist. And eventually, she petitioned Bishop of Liege. In those days, bishops could order feasts in their local diocese. But the bishop agreed to the feast and convened a synod in 1246, and ordered that a celebration of Corpus Christi should be held annually. The Corpus Christi celebration only started to become more widespread after both Juliana and the bishop had died. In 1264, Pope Urban IV issued a papal bull as a transiturus in which Corpus Christi was made a feast throughout the entire Latin Rite. Corpus Christi is primarily a Roman Catholic feast, but it is also acknowledged on the calendar of a few Anglican churches, most notably the Church of England. It is also celebrated by some Western Rite Orthodox Christians. Across many parts of medieval Europe, you have a situation where Corpus Christi was a popular time for the performance of mystery plays. Along with Lent, Advent, Easter, Pentecost, and Christmas, Roman Catholic bishops have a duty, good, to be present at their cathedrals on Corpus Christi. Having provided that rundown on the history of Corpus Christi, I believe we can understand why fancy to this holiday as a religious one has actually waned in our midst, with church going becoming something of the past, as Catholicism has been receding to a trickle. I don't want to be facetious or too critical, but the bishop and 6 people walking through town, that does not justify a public holiday. If the people not celebrating it and they're using it for fete, we need to cut it out, because it is a nuisance holiday. The people only will cry and want, oh, how come we didn't get this holiday? Because they want holiday. Remember, a lot of Grenadians from 1995 especially to 2022 for the most part, their favorite 4 subjects in school was let out, break time, school over, and holiday. That is why we are seeing a plethora and a surfeit of dunceness permeating our entire society today. All they want is holiday. But what about the essential services and hotels that never asked for this holiday and could well do with a normal working day so they don't have to pay double time? It is expensive for some folks. You see, when people in Grenada want to, be bad for their holiday, it is not that they want to rest or so, they just want to not work. They get a day to legitimately not work. Of course, you and I know most of them going to work and not working anyway. But this is a day not to work, and they're happy for that. That's a legitimate one. You see, they want a day to play yes. That's what they want. Totally removed from the religious and Christian meaning of the day itself. But with all the grandstanding and playing up to the masses, under that past visionless, characterless, old nastiness, this could never be. We talk religion and Christianity when it suits us. And imagine this religious holiday which speaks to the day of the most holy body and blood of Jesus Christ, also known as the solemnity of the most holy body and blood of Christ. Yet for all, the overall season we are in is devoid of any Christian principles. That is why I say we need to get rid of these nuisance religious holidays in the midst of our irreligious and unchristian realities. Who vex, vex. If I may say so myself, my point is well made. With this level of brutal frankness, I am aware that the great pretenders will never appreciate what I bring to the table. And so I set out totally prepared to eat by myself. I already know that I have come into people's lives to show them genuine love. And many of them came into mind to teach me how to love myself. I'm okay with that. Run your own race, folks. Be excited about who you are. Let's take another break and we'll come right back. You see where this is going? A lot more where that came from. Study your heads, folks.
EDDIE Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only EDDIE Frederick can deliver. EDDIE Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safely and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
If I take time and I write down all the things that I love on my island, best believe my list gon' be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's love that makes me sing this song. The cleanest breeze on the waters, friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for. Stand for. Oh, island in the sun. Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. Going higher. 50 years we're blessed, we're pushing higher. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 going up, going up, going up, 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 higher. Going higher. As we aspire, build up ourselves, put people together.
EDDIE Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only EDDIE Frederick can deliver. EDDIE Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, wonderful. So we are back. And for those of you just joining, I'd like to register my appreciation for you taking time to be here with us today, and advise you that as soon as you come into the room, please share the live. Let's get as many more people involved so that they too can become edified. Welcome back. My life subscribes to Albert Camus's philosophy, folks. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Isn't that beautiful, folks? Albert Camus's philosophy. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. And I continue to deliver in every sphere of life with authenticity and absolutely no filters. If you are interested in truth, stick around. If you are not, trust me, I will enjoy consistently hurting your feelings. Look around you, and you will see the many people who falsely display traits such as kindness, empathy, and care, so that they can hide deception of the demon they really are. No one is known to win with people around them who want to ensure that they're always losing. Look at our highly inferior political environment. It is the worst for lies, deception, contrived nonsense, nastiness, alternative facts, and the whole 9 yards to mimic desperation in its rarest form. We have people who use their platforms to attack others in an effort to damage their character, being more concerned now that they have been scandalized with good reason by detractors within their splintered organization as part of the karma is a bitch syndrome. What is not good for them was deemed good for others for so long that now the shoe is on the other foot. They are actually alleged to be threatening to kill anyone who attempts to do unto them all they did to so many people of the recent, medium, and long-term past. For a mess of pottage as part of the attack pack of pottongs for a certain entity. Karma is a bitch indeed. It's all good for one to be anxious, passionate, enthusiastic about the politics in context of which party or individual they support. But it is quite another that we should go out of the way to attempt to destroy the otherwise good name of good, honest people offering themselves as a sacrifice to help clean up the political mess of a landscape, just to aid and abet the regular nastinesses that we have become accustomed to over the years, and whose very performance or lack thereof is responsible for us being in the depraved positions that many of our people have found ourselves, with so many poor and vulnerable, in spite of them being around the precincts of power for so goddamn long. If only our people, for the most part, would read and broaden their knowledge, they would come to know the extent of their ignorance, which keeps them going around in circles. And that is precisely why I say, regardless of the reaction of the handful of people who persist on observing these nuisance holidays under the guise of being Christian, we should put the nation back to work by abandoning these goddamn nuisance holidays altogether, because the deceitful religious among us are hiding behind religion to use the day to fete and to have a good time instead of helping the church celebrate the body of Christ. Since the horse has bolted a long time now on account of the poor leadership of the church over the years, these religious holidays have rendered themselves a total waste of time. But when our nation can tolerate empty-headed idiots, listen to me carefully, folks, empty-headed idiots who can't even read, resembling clowns with pale faces attached to bushy heads filled with sawdust, coming in like Spanish stations to interrupt our flow. The many of them who are not able in the quadrant of basic intelligence because of a total lack of and for education, we must be confused. Because you're listening to them, you're looking at them, you see you're not focused, so they must distract you. This gives me reason to continue to admonish you to remain focused. When you remain unshakably focused, your detractors have to employ help to take you on. I always told you that when people cannot match your intellect or general intelligence level, they will resort to the gutter of their comfort to hurl insults at you. I believe it is the Italian mafia, Al Capone, who said, "You ought to be aware that people will play both sides." That's why your talks must be brief, your visits extremely limited, and your moves totally silent. Isn't that interesting? You realize there is not all bad in everybody. It's not all bad in everybody. Al Capone, big mafia, big mafia, you know. But hear what he said. You ought to be aware that people will play both sides. That's why your talks must be brief, your visits extremely limited, and your moves totally silent. I didn't even know he said that, but that's how I live. Folks, I always tout the importance of remaining consistent, as it is the most important ingredient to win the respect of others. This is one of the main character traits that propel me forward, if I may say so myself. You would never get me changing my mind on core values and things I really deeply believe in. Hell no. Look at my consistency when it comes to my disgust for that old nastiness. Since he was a young nastiness. Now that is consistency. And I'm not about to change that today. Especially as up to now, so many of you have seen how correct I have been to not like him and his poor, dismal, and evil leadership style. Yet for all, we have people who over the years decried him when they were posing as opposers. And because of their lack of consistency, when their selfish agenda was exposed, they switched the ship. They switched the ship and are today barking for that which wanted you to believe. They wanted you to believe. They were against all along. That's inconsistency, folks. Inconsistency. It has to be a hell of a position for one to find oneself in, to be totally opposed to a thing or situation or person, did not have the patience to allow their consistency to work, and surrendered, only to end up on the other side when the organization that they were with experienced victory, and they find themselves fighting up in opposition of the same thing they once were integral to. Now tell me that is not total confusion. That has to be total confusion, folks. That person must, that kind of people must like TB and rubbish. Rubbish. That person, that kind of people is no good. I have always advised you to pay attention to people's actions and not only their words. All along, the reason why such idiots were seemingly opposed to the old nastiness over the years are the same reasons we can attribute to them today. They were jealous of the old nastiness's nefarious achievements, which they did not have the opportunity to amass. Folks, I recently saw this quote, which befits many of them. Many of them. And it basically says, the thief who has no opportunity to steal thinks he or she is an honest man or honest woman. Could you imagine it? The thief that has no opportunity to steal thinks he or she is an honest man or an honest woman. I had to chuckle to myself for a very long time when I saw that. Folks, watch the few people who support one party or another, who are easily moved to criticize and condemn the party they say they love because they can't see their representative. They can't or did not get anything they wished for from their representative. They are easily ruffled by the utterances of anyone sent to distract them, just because they are not known to be able to focus. And you will realize how correct I am when I say to you, the present administration has several green thinking supporters who happen to vote yellow. Focus on consistency. Focus, folks. Those two things, focus and consistency, are their least favorite attributes. And that is why we can hear them spouting nonsense all over the place. You see, there is absolutely no doubt that Grenada is full of people suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect. What does that mean? A type of cognitive bias, where people with little expertise or ability assume they have superior expertise or ability. This overestimation occurs as a result of the fact that they don't have enough knowledge to know that they don't have enough knowledge. And so this proverb comes to mind. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool, and we all should shun him. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a student. We all should be happy to teach him. He who knows and knows not that he knows is asleep. Oh gosh, let's make plenty noise and wake him. He who knows and knows that he knows is wise. And that is who we should follow. Not the old nastiness, but the young, decent Mitchell. Because he knows and he knows that he knows. He is wise. We should follow him. You see, I'm going to put that in the comments so that you can see it yourself, because a lot of you, I'm sure you could do it some memory of this and have it for posterity. You see, this quote is a popular adaptation of a saying attributed to Confucius, an ancient Chinese philosopher. While the exact wording may vary depending on the translation, the essence of the message remains consistent across different versions. You see, overall, this quote emphasizes the importance of self-awareness, continuous learning, humility in the pursuit of wisdom. It suggests different approaches to interacting with individuals based on their level of knowledge and self-awareness. We should be too consumed with self-development that we have no time to veer off course. With boundaries intact, fences built strong and high, attainable vision in sight, focus as a serious underpinning, courage and commitment to realize our dreams practiced daily, discipline to follow our path towards realizing our goals. These attributes call for too much of our energies for us to be concerned with the bad vibrations of toxic people. Too many of us are too easily distracted with what other people's expectations of us are, and we try too hard to please them, and hence we never run our own race, and therefore could never be excited about who we are and are becoming. Look at the many people among us who are doomed just by the diet they feed themselves. You on their social media pages, and from their very profile to what they share, like, comment, and even generally react to, you can write a book about who they are and know ahead of it all that they are not going anywhere with their lives. Such people are forgettable when they are alive, and worse yet, when they pass on. Such people are victims of social conditioning. That's why I love Bob Marley's utterance that warned us that everyone in life is going to hurt us. We just have to figure out which ones are worth the pain. Folks, run your own race. Be excited about who you are, and you can't go wrong. Let's take in another break, and we'll come right back with some more thunder.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
If I take time and I write down all the things that I love on my island, best believe the list gon' be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's all that makes me sing this song. The cleanest beers on the waters, friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for. Stand for. Oh, island in the sun. Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. going higher. 50 years we're blessed with the fire. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 going up, going up, going up, 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 higher. Going higher. As we aspire, build up ourselves, put people together. Bang, 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 slowly up.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and vital opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, wonderful. And of course, we have 2 more segments to go. I'll give you a bonus segment today. The story is told, folks, by this religious pundit that he once heard a religious minister on television tell how he got out of bed every day at 4 o'clock in the morning and prayed for 2 hours. His first reaction was, oh my, I don't pray for 2 hours a day, and I surely don't get up that early. The more he thought about it, the worse he felt. Finally, he had to say, that's great for him, but thank God it's not great for me. I am going to run my own race. I am not going to feel guilty just because I am not doing what he is doing. God has an individual plan for each of us, each of our lives. Just because something works for somebody else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. If we make the mistake of trying to copy other people, we're going to be frustrated and we're going to waste a lot of time and energy. Worse yet, we will miss the good things that God has for us to do as we witness so many doing around us. This person may be prosperous today because they're thieving. Their luck will not be yours, trust me. Not because you know the thieving and getting away with it, you will go on thief. You will get caught and you will face the music. Run your own race, folks. Mother always running their children here and there, investing a lot of time in their kids. Their children are involved in every club and every sport. And for some folks, that's great. But some moms simply try to copy other moms. And they enroll their children in all sorts of activities out of a sense of not wanting to feel guilty or face the condemnation of others. Some frantic, frazzled parents are so desperately trying to keep up with their peers, keep up with the Joneses, and not their children's peers, but their peers, that they are missing the entire point of horizon expanding programs in the first place. Not only that, but all that running around is wearing out mom and dad. Bringing up children in that atmosphere helps to make them as false and ill-intentioned as they are, living out of the experience of others while trying to be like them. What an example to set for your children. No wonder we live in a mostly fake and bootleg society that a lot of us adults help to create and perpetuate. You see, here's some good news. You can run your own race. God of our universe will be pleased. God has given you the grace to do what he's called you to do. He has not given you the grace to do what everyone else is doing. The scripture that many of you love to quote and quote coming from the Bible, teaches us, let each one examine his own work. And that's according to Galatians 6:4. In other words, you take care of it. Quit looking at what everybody else is doing and run your own race while remaining focused. If you are the best that you can be, then you can feel good about yourself, regardless of whether you come in first or last, whether you get the big promotion or not, whether you make the grade or fall on your face in failure. If you do the best you can do, you can walk with dignity and hold your head high. You see, granted, you will face enormous pressure to do what everyone else is doing, to try to please everybody and meet all their expectations. If you're not careful, though, your life can become a blur, a pale imitation rather than an original that it was meant to be. But you don't have to please everyone. You need to please only God, and in so doing, you please yourself. The truth is, if you're going to run your own race, you may not be able to meet other people's expectations. You can't be everywhere and everything to everybody. Hell no. You'll have to accept the fact that some people may not like you, and you will still be fine. Everybody's not going to agree with every decision you make. You surely will not be able to keep every person in your life happy. But you can't let the demands, pressures, and expectations from others stop you from doing what you know that God wants you to do. You see, when you face difficult decisions or uncertain choices, it helps to see that you can seek counsel from someone that you respect. Okay, we know that people that we can respect are few and far between today. We know that. But there must be at least one that you can trust and respect. Certainly the Bible, again, that many of you like to quote and quote, says, there is safety in a multitude of counselors. See Proverbs 24:6. And we should never be hard-headed and stubborn. We should always carry with us an open mind. Stay open and be willing to take advice. But after you've prayed about something and looked at all the options, be bold enough to make a decision that is right for you. If you're trying to please everybody else by doing things you don't really want to do, so you won't hurt somebody's feelings, or because you're trying to keep everybody happy, you will be cheating yourself. The worst person, folks, to cheat is you. Look at how many people are cheating themselves and remaining in the quadrant of poor and vulnerable in our society today, just because they are following that old nastiness. You can run yourself in circles trying to be something that you're not, and you'll run the risk of missing out on God's best for your life. You see, sometimes you can even get too much advice. Conflicting opinions can cause confusion. Sometimes the friends who are giving you advice can't even run their own lives, but they sure are giving and telling you how to run yours. Be careful about whom you allow to influence your decision-making process. Make sure the people who are giving you advice know what they're talking about and are people who have earned your respect as a source of wisdom. Otherwise, never adopt the advice and thinking of a person whose opinion you are listening to, who you don't want to be like. I'm going to share that comment with you because I think that's important for you to understand. Never, ever, adopt the advice and thinking of a person whose opinion you are listening to, who you don't want to be like, because you will end up like them. Follow your own heart in light of God's word and do what you feel is right and good for you. Today's affirmation. We need to stand up straight, folks. Hold ourselves up, chin up, shoulders squared. Thank you, Master, for giving me the confidence to be me. Thank you for allowing me to run my race and to not be concerned about what other people expect of me. As long as you are pleased with me, I am happy. Amen. You see, in conversation with a gentleman recently, based on the thread of our discussion, he looked me straight in the eye and told me, Eddie, trust me, boy, the universe must take care of you. You will always be rewarded for the good you do and all the personal sacrifices you have made over the years. You give out good to the universe while maintaining your boundaries. And the folks who cannot penetrate your boundaries in their usual hunger to invade your inner sanctum will always be critical of you but the universe will always reward you because of your clean heart. Give out good while you remain connected to the earth, and the earth will take care of you. I needed to hear this as a reassurance of my deep-rooted belief. If the universe did not plan to take care of me, I would have fallen prey to the fangs of the old nastiness a long time now. Exerted all levels of state-sponsored pressure to starve me out in his quest to turn me into a bankrupt. And you have a lot of these supporters of that old stinker today, crying foul about victimization and being left out and marginalization, as if that what going on now could match anything that old dirtiness used to people. Folks, when your wagon is faulty, no one dares tell you this for fear that you get upset. When you are given a job to do that you like, make sure the job likes you. When you run your own race and are excited about who you are, because you are imbued with commensurate confidence, you will not want to vaunt yourself and spend too much time being boastful and cocky, showing off all your loot for fear that you lose all hope in the places you go to in this short life. Run your own race. Be excited about who you are. Let's take a break here, folks, and we'll come back with a final bonus segment for today.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to bake safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
If I take time and I write down all the things that I love on my island, best believe my list gon' be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's love that makes me sing this song. The cleanest breeze on the waters, friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for. Stand for. Oh, island in the sun. Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. Going higher. 50 years we're blessed with.
Okay, folks. Okay. I have enough time for that. Last segment here, folks. Welcome back. We have all witnessed a situation in Grenada where a mass leader who has the fame of being the longest-serving optimum leader of the country's affairs left a broken down wagon for his successor, and today criticize every move the same successor makes to repair and salvage that same broken down and mangled wagon. All the brokenness the young, decent Deacon Mitchell is trying desperately to fix were a direct result of the lack of character and the inherent crookedness of the same defective predecessor leader who reigned supreme from 1995 to 2022 for the most part. All the current generation of leaders are trying to do is to fix the messy legacy bequeathed to them. That old nastiness, as I correctly refer to him, needs to ask himself, what baton did I hand to my successors? any lamentation this old nastiness and his goons have today would be based on what he created and left behind. Let us remember the priority he placed on dismantling institutions like the police, our entire public service, the bastardization of the electoral system, which saw the erosion of the Canadian system put in place to maintain an unquestionably clean and clear elections machinery, putting us on the straight and narrow. The contempt he has shown to our education. Listen to this carefully, folks. By always making sure he appointed a low-grade so-called teacher to head that ministry, and whose limits were foisted on the national education landscape, with one using the position to establish faith in self, to do well personally at the expense of taxpayers. Look at the deviance among our nation's youthful population today, rooted in connivance to manipulate them for their votes by making them feel they are cared for through their inclusion in a bogus youth program in name only that had no structure, while doling out a measly $800 to $1,200 per month to the each enrolled person, rendering them captive as if he kidnapped them, with them becoming useless for as many as 10, and in some cases more years, while becoming nothing in their lives. The only thing they could have graduated from that Imani senseless rubbish program to become was a debaucher, because they might have been too old to stay in the Imani program. So they would have had to graduate to becoming debauchers. What can we expect today but a manifestation of the chaos we are experiencing, with potential to get worse if steps are not taken to arrest it now? You see, folks, the resultant crime levels, low to non-existent health services, decrepit education, decimated police and public service. These are the legacies of the old nastiness, who must not be referred to otherwise but by his rightful name, that old nastiness. That's what he is. Folks, he's vexing, you know. Very, very vexing. I could not believe my ears when I hear the poor mouthpieces of the National Nasty Party complain about not being consulted over the changes at the electoral office. By the way, Grenada has a new supervisor of elections, and is that a matter of fact that was long overdue. Everyone knows where the allegiance of the replaced supervisor stood. It was never a secret. That appointment was done in the same way they used to do them. And now something is wrong with how it was done, because it was not them doing it. Take that in all your Craig. Your man is out. I understand that what baffles them is that while they are consumed by their several pockets of internal fights and strife surrounding whether they will have a party convention or not, and the warring between supporters of the main challenger and supporters of the old nastiness, not to mention their sustained attempts to destabilize the current administration, work was being done to secure a super replacement to fill the role of a real supervisor of elections. Word out surrounds an allegation of new system that was either contemplated or on the way to being out in place at the electoral office. That will be no more, as there is no more chance of old nastiness and his goons attempting to manipulate any system. I really love the tremendous pushback that these emboldened idiots are facing when they come with nonsense. Folks, the after-election nonsense mimics quality of their campaign. You remember the campaign? Nothing. Where did he day? Gimme, it's mine. I want it. Where you today? Ice cream and cake. Just rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. It's like if this old geezer got so comfortable that he take the whole 100,000 of us for a whole bundle of jackasses. And that is why I'm totally convinced he gone and he not coming back. Folks, hashtag KWTGONEANDHENOTCOMINGBACK. Keith gone and he not coming back. You see, could you imagine even religious parasites posing as pastors and church leaders are among those calling for attention to the tattered legacy of the Rachifi administration, led by the worst kind, otherwise known as the kakistocrat and the kleptocrat, as if this new administration is responsible for the state of our roads, police stations, hospitals, et al. And these people want to be taken seriously. I am on record as telling among you, a whole lot of these religious junkies, they do good for the most part. Now, the very few of you who know you're good, please don't take no offense. Take no offense, because no offense is meant to you. But the majority of you who know you're no good, take offense, because I am here to upset among you today, to let you know I have no respect nor regard for none of you, because you're using God while you're mugging his people. Because that's all you're doing. You're driving your new car, passing your congregants straight, eating your 3 square meals, while your congregants catching their ass, and you call yourself a man of God. You all need to go to hell. That's what you need to do. Folks, I drop it as straight as it needs to be, because this place is vexing. Too many goddamn hypocrites floating around leadership positions in this blasted place. It's just too much now. Today, we who are structured and live well-ordered lives have no problem joining Lawrence Ferlinghetti, an American poet and co-founder of the City Lights bookstore and publishing house, in the following poem. Listen to this. Pity the Nation, in his collection, A Coney Island of Mind, in 1958. Pity the nation whose people are sheep and whose shepherds mislead them. Pity the nation whose leaders are liars, whose sages are silenced, and whose bigots haunt the airwaves. Pity the nation that raises not its voice except to praise conquerors and acclaim the bully as hero, and aims to rule the world with force and by torture. Pity the nation that knows no other language but its own, and no other culture but its own. Pity the nation whose breath is money and sleeps the sleep of the too well-fed. Pity the nation. Oh, pity the people who allow their rights to erode and their freedoms to be washed away. The country tears of thee, sweet land of liberty. In closing, let me make good on my promise to you to elaborate a little on the need for serious preparation for 2024's hurricane season. Climate change has been known to wreak havoc on small island states like ours. It is therefore incumbent on each of us as citizens to pay close attention to the effects this can have on us as a people. When we have to be taking our scarce resources to rebuild after every bout of heavy rains that wash away our roads and cause landslides, not to mention further deteriorate living conditions of some of our more vulnerable citizens, we also have to cope with rising temperatures in the other half of the year that cause a tremendous strain on our energy bills. As we have to buy more fans and air conditioners, pay more for electricity, thus demanding more of our generations plant in electricity, of course, too much strain on the generators. We must feel the economic pinch with low salaries just to cope. But I want to remind you that our low salaries are in proportion to our education levels, with no hope in sight for increases, simply because we are not prepared to do what we must to improve ourselves. We just feel we must get a raise of pay because the cost of living go up. A joke you're making. Those things don't happen anymore. You see, I pay attention, plus I come to the table with a broader scope and an open mind to be able to understand and appreciate our current realities. According to French philosopher Henry Bergson, to exist is to change. To change is to mature. To mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. Remember, folks, run your own race. Be excited about who you are. You must become unavailable for the things that make you feel badly. When you create a difference in someone's life, you not only impact their life, you impact everyone influenced by them throughout their entire lifetime. I advise you to go and create waves. Do join me now, man. I need help. Come and join me to create waves in this society. So all those dunce, unable people who see themselves playing role, dress up as clown, trying to see if they influence and get into your head, will not be able to penetrate you, far less to even attempt to distract you. I am in, I am out, and I am gone. Thanks for joining. Continue to share. Remember, see you next week at the same time, same place for more extraordinary programming. Until then, stay safe, stay well, remain vigilant, and remain lifted. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Just type in my name, Edward or Eddie Frederick. Subscribe, like, and share. And be prepared to receive your mental multivitamins as straight up as I deliver them. Toodle-vous, folks. Thank you for joining me today. I want to wish you Godspeed. Have a lovely week. Cheers.
Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This has been Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy. For too long now, our generally perceived poorly educated electorate have fallen victim to the cheap and inferior propaganda of those seeking to hold others captive under the guise of democracy. Gladly, the CDGG uses edification to help to actively pursue a sustainable approach to reorient our people towards the importance of electing and selecting people of good character to public life. Through edification, we will highlight the importance of education appropriate to our development, proper healthcare and facilities as our right, respect for law and order, not to mention upgrading our people's thinking so they could become qualified participants in the democratic process to their advantage. After all, Grenada's national constitution makes allowances for the ideal of free men to enjoy freedom from fear and want, which can be best achieved if conditions are created whereby everyone may enjoy his economic, social and political, civil and cultural rights.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Country Cold Store wishes to advise the general public and its customers that the services of their sales trucks will be unavailable on Thursday, 13th June 2024 to facilitate an important staff training session. Normal operation of the sales trucks will resume on Friday, 14th June 2024. Country Cold Store sincerely apologizes for any inconvenience this closure may cause and thanks the general public for their cooperation and understanding.
Season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to take safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftop and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. Hiring the right people with the right attitude and mindset is where to start. Even if you did not get it right through your current methods, we can help develop the right mindset for your current employees. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.EDDIE-FYAH.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Take time and I write down all the things that I love on my island. Best believe my list gon' be like 5 miles long.